Hello everyone, I am Shivani from the Anand Sagar Academy of Technology and Management. Today we are here to give a presentation on the topic Scope, Visibility and Lifetime of a Variable Function. Let's get started right away. Starting with the introductory part, scope, visibility and lifetime can be understood with a simple real-life example of Netflix, Hotstar or an Amazon Prime. There are movies, TV series present on this platform that have local or a global scope, visibility and lifetime. Movie based on the local language like Hindi, Japanese and Korean have limited scope. They can be watched in a limited area, while movies with global languages like English have a global scope and are available throughout the world to watch. These movies also have a lifetime, and once that lifetime is over, these movies are removed from the streaming platform. And now coming to the appropriate definition of a scope, visibility and lifetime of a variable, they are defined as scope is defined as the availability of a variable inside a program. Scope is basically the region of a code in which a variable is available to use. Visibility of a variable is defined as if a variable is accessible or not inside a particular region or a code, the whole program. Lifetime of a variable is the time for which the variable is taking up a valid space in the system memory. Without further ado, let's look deep into our topics. What is the scope variable in C? Let's say you reside in an apartment complex and you have one key to use to get access to your room. The apartment owner or a manager may have a master key that grant access to all the room. The scope of a variable in C have a similar idea. The availability of a variable in a program or a function is referred to as the scope visibility in C language. A variable, for example, may be accessed only within a single function or a block of code or throughout the whole C program. We can associate the room key with a local variable in C language because they only work in the single room. In the term of global variable refer to variable keys. They are accessible to the whole program. There are four types of scope: file scope, block scope, function scope and prototype scope. The further topics will be explained by my co-partner Smaran.
Hello, this is Smart, and I'll be taking on the next slides from here. Firstly, file scope. File scope of variables in C is defined as having the availability of variables throughout the file program. It means that the variable has global scope and it is available all for every function and every block in the program. You can see the example of the C program right below the slide. Looking at the explanation part, a global variable X is declared having file scope. Main functions are able to access the variable X because it has a file scope. In the code, first we have increased the value of X by 10 and then by 30, and we can see from the output that X preserves its value 20 after the changes made in the function is because it has file. Moving on to the next slide, visibility of a variable is defined by how a variable is accessible inside a program. A variable is visible within its scope and hidden outside the scope. A variable's visibility controls how much of the rest of the program may access it. You can limit the variable to a specific section of a function, a single source file, or any place in C program. The visibility and scope of variable are very similar to each other. At every available variable in the scope, it is not necessarily accessible, which is visible in a C. Let's see this with an example. When we declare two variables having the same name in two different scopes, the variable declared in a bigger scope is available in the block having smaller scope, but it is not accessible because the smaller scope variable has more priority in accessing the variable declared in the respective inner block. Moving on to the next slide, what is the lifetime of a variable in C? Lifetime of a variable in C is defined as for how much time period a variable occupies a valid space in the system's memory for, or lifetime is the period between when memory is allocated to hold the variable and when it is filled. Once out of scope, its lifetime ends. Lifetime is also known as the range or extent of a variable. A variable in the C program language can have static, automatic, or dynamic lifetime. Static lifetime. Objects and variables having static lifetime will remain in the memory until execution of the program finishes. This can be declared using the static keyword. Global variables also have static lifetime. They survive as long as the program runs. Example, you can see the example right below. Automatic lifetime. Objects and variables declared inside a block have local variables, which are defined with a function, have an automatic lifetime by default. They arise when the function is invoked and are deleted once the function